of life. And it's time we learned how. Join the Scarlet Witch on a journey into magic and learn the true meaning of witchcraft as we enter the Witch's Closet with Scarlet Witch.
Hello all, good evening. I hope the week's been kind to everybody so far. What day are we on? Oh God, it's only Wednesday. Oh, never mind. Hi everybody, see you all. Hi Kate. Let's wait a few seconds for people to join.
Hi,
good evening, Annette. Hi Lorraine.
Josh.
Okay. Oh, is that your puppy dog?
This is one of them. This is
Oh, oh lovely. Look at the little ears.
Oh, this one's Buster.
Oh, oh, is one of them younger than the other?
Yeah.
He looks much smaller. He's still got the puppy features.
Right, this one's like going to be forever pup because she's 1.5 years.
Gosh, she looks young.
Yeah, well, she's a little run to the litter. And then the other one, he's just jumped down on the floor now. He's 6 months old, but he's already bigger than her.
Gosh, are they the same breed?
Pardon?
Are they the same breed?
Yeah. She's his aunt, so like their aunt and nephew.
Oh, how cute is that? Oh, bless. Right, let's have a look. So Dave's on. Hi, Dave. Damon, evening. I'm wondering Willow, who loves dogs. She's saying hi to the puppies. Okay, guys.
Then they're going in puppy prison, which is the case that we've got set up.
Puppy prison.
Puppy prison.
So, thank you all for joining. Tonight we're going to talk about things that you didn't realise had pagan origins, or things that you didn't know were come from. No, I'm not going to say it. We'll leave it at that then. Okay, we don't want to offend anybody. So, many people don't realise they've been actually doing forms of the craft without realising it. Hi, Jeanette. Thank you for joining. So, simple things like crossing fingers, knocking on wood, wishing wells, blowing out candles and a birthday cake. All of those have.
That's one of my favourite ones that people don't
That
realise.
is one of my favourite ones.
Everyone does it. Blow out the candles, make a wish.
Exactly. I've had that argument with many a person. Like, oh, I wouldn't do witchcraft. Do you celebrate your birthday? Oh, yeah. Do you blow out candles? Yeah. Do you make a wish? Yeah. Well, you've been doing witchcraft then. My other favourite one is when people say to me, oh, I don't believe in witchcraft. I was like, okay, you give me a piece of your hair, and they suddenly shut up then. They're like, oh, no, you can't have any of my hair. But yeah, there's quite a few comical ones. Right. Yeah. Make sure. Okay. So, yeah. So there's many acts of magic that people don't realise they're doing in day-to-day life because it's gone down through, you might have seen your grandparents do it, their grandparents or their great-grandparents, and that's how these traditions evolve and last for so many centuries and years. But it all stemmed from pagan origins. The only difference between how witches do it is when we do things like this, we do it with intent, focus and balance. And we have the belief that it will work, so that's why we do it. A lot of people will do knocking on wood, or if they're not near wood, they'll knock on their head. I've seen that one. I do that one. So people are more superstitious than they like to let on. So like I said, we're going to discuss some of the traditions a lot of people do today that people don't realise are pagan origins. So the first one I have mentioned, knocking on wood. We've all done it. We've seen our parents do it and grandparents do it. It's just a tradition that's carried on for years. But where did it come from? So the ancient Celts believed there was a much deeper meaning. And there was the belief that the trees were home to spiritual beings, fae, and general spirits as well. So knocking on wood to them was a way of two things: warding off evil spirits that were listening, but also awakening the good spirits that were listening to allow whatever it is that they were knocking on wood for to protect them or to come to fruition. It was also as well to distract the bad spirits from listening by knocking on the wood, because the sound of the wood and knocking had a specific tone that would distract the negative spirits. That's what they believed in. So that's the knocking on wood origins. That's a more common one. I'd be surprised if people don't know the origins of that one. It's
to be fair, you'd be surprised. People nowadays, they just they don't bother to look into things that much unless it's like something that actually interests them. They'll just do something automatically, and
that's right.
You won't have a clue, really.
No, a lot of things we do because our parents did it, and because we saw our parents do it, we've just taken that as well. And like you said, a lot of people don't look into the history or the origins of it, and it's a shame, really. So yes, we move forward. The next one is the days of the week. Now, a lot of people I've spoken to, they're always like, oh, I'd love to know who came up with the colours, or who named the days of the week, or who named the months of the years. And that is what I'm going to go on to. Damon's put, I know of something that I'll put up at the end of the show. Okay, fire away. That's fantastic.
Anything in particular?
It's got me worried now. So even the names of the days of the week have pagan origins. For example, Friday comes from the name Freya, which was the Norse goddess of love. Mondays, which we all hate, that was, I'm not very good with pronunciations, Monadayeg, we'll go with that. And that was the day of the moon goddess. So every single day of the week stems from pagan origins somewhere, and that's what they were named. A lot of it was to do with goddesses and gods, and that's where the names come from. But they were changed to be a bit more easier to pronounce. Saying you're having a bad Monday-og is a bit of a mouthful, as opposed to having a bad Monday.
It's like, as the language has evolved, like over time, because obviously those are like ancient, like, you know, Nordic gods and whatnot. Like, obviously back then they spoke a different language, and the language all evolved. So I've like, you know, basically that's how words kind of evolve for days of the week, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Kate's put a valid point as well. She always taught students where the days of the week and the months came from, and I thought it was important knowledge-wise. She was an English teacher. Yeah, I 100% agree. It is important to know. I wish you was my teacher growing up, Kate, because I know one ever taught me that. But I went to a Church of England school, so that's we won't go there. So as Kate mentioned, the months of the year as well. So just like the names of the days of the week, the months of the year also came from pagan origins. So the 12 months of the calendar, and I do believe, I think Damon mentioned it, and you and Ben as well on the other show, that originally it was like 13 rather than 12. Am I getting that right, or have I made that? No, it was something to do with the calendar, wasn't it?
There was like, well, there was originally 10. Before, like, the Roman Empire took a bit more hold and whatnot, which is why you've got September, October, and November, and they were like 7, 8, 9, but they've all been moved for the new ones.
So that moves on to June is named after Juno, which again was a Roman queen of the gods and wife to Jupiter. Believe it or not, the naming conventions apparently troubled the early Christian church enough to warrant them to want to change the names to more wholesome names. But they struggled to try and get people to change. People don't like change, and the names of the months of the year were already set in stone. But again, the Church of England did try to change them, which didn't go down very well, so they just kept them as they were. So they were supposed to be changed, but luckily they didn't get changed. So let's just keep an eye on something that is pagan.
I think the 13 months thing, I remember, was it like a year ago or something? Someone came out and said that there should actually be 13 months.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the 13th one was. Oh,
I knew I'd heard it from somewhere.
It me looking for my phone. I'm using my phone.
That's something I do.
It's because it's usually Ben's phone and I'll do fact checking on my phone.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's something I do.
sure it began with an O, and they decided that actually it should have been there should have been 13.
Yeah.
And then it like changed everyone's star sign, and there's a thing going off at the time about everyone be like, oh, are you actually more like what you should actually be, a star sign, or what you currently are as a star sign?
Yeah.
Like, which one resonates with you more? I know there's a big thing of that online when
that's probably where I'd heard. I knew there was 13 months somewhere along the line. Personally, going on star signs, I stuck to my own star sign that I was born with. I ain't changed it. I'm a creature of habit.
Well,
no.
Since it's gone off, if I read like the older texts with my like star sign of Libra, which I am, the older texts, I match it. Whereas things that come out nowadays, the newer stuff that pops up on like Facebook and stuff, and it's just like, oh, you're a Libra if this, and it's just all stuff that's just like, no, that's not me at all. I resonate more with a Virgo.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, what's going on here? Is this something to do with the whole change? People have sort of, it's just weird how since this whole 13th thing has come out, that like how they describe my star sign now, it's just like, well, I don't resonate with that at all.
No, that's
in the older texts, it's like, that's me.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just baffled me lately. It's just like, what's going on?
No, I get very confused when astrology isn't my thing. As much as I will read my star sign and all that jazz, I don't know all the, people have it in rising and houses and stuff like that. I'm not into all of that at all. I can just about remember what day of the week we're on, let alone remembering what star sign's in what house. But yes, if that's what you're into, anybody listening, that's absolutely fine. You carry on. So we go on to another one. So covering your mouth to yawn. Common courtesy. Of course it is. However, the origins of covering your mouth stem way back deeper. And it was during pagan Rome. Doctors had a not so clever idea. They come to the theory that there was a lot of children who were dying at very, very young ages. And they come to the conclusion it was because they physically couldn't at a young age put their hand to cover their mouth. So their essence, their life essence, was escaping through their mouth when they yawned. And that is where it originally came from, was covering the mouth. They noticed that obviously children passed young, and that babies were unable to cover their mouths, so that's where that theory come from. And they believed that it was the life essence was able to escape, and that's where it originally come from. So it's not just to do with being polite and nobody wanting to stare down your lug-hole, mid-yawn. Let's just have a look, keep an eye on these comments. So Jeanette said, I heard it used to be 13 months years ago. Yeah, I definitely have heard it somewhere. Whether it is to do with this star sign change and what have you, I don't know. Kate says, I was very lucky to have a good teacher who taught me it in school too. So passing down traditions, I guess. It wasn't part of the curriculum, but I didn't get any complaints. Oh dear. So Kate's put the 13th month placed between February and March would have been called Vern due to its proximity to the vernal equinox and the beginning of spring. That we've just come through as well at the minute. Wondering Willow said it was something to do with the serpent that was missing in November. Okay, not heard about that one. It's to do with the moon phases, the months technically work 1 month for free. Well, isn't that depressing?
That's only if you're salaried.
Yeah.
Not work on an hourly rate.
So another one for you. Wedding rings. So although wedding rings themselves are not exactly pagan, but the fact we place them on our ring fingers most certainly is. And in traditional Greek and Roman beliefs, your fourth finger, or your ring finger, had a vein that led all the way to your heart. And they believe that putting the ring on your ring finger would, what's the word? It's showing an eternal commitment to love, and it would strengthen the love bond between the couple. So that is why it is placed on the ring finger, according to tradition. Like the idea of Vern from Shona, it is, yeah, that's nice. Then we go on to Easter, or Ostara, as I call it, being of pagan origin, you know, Wiccan and all that. Now, a lot of people believe it's an important Christian holiday, and the Christians would lead you to believe it is an important Christian holiday. Sorry, it's pagan. Firstly, the name. So the term Easter is derived from Ostara or Ostra, or however you pronounce the name of it. And it was a Germanic pagan goddess. That was her name. And where the Easter eggs come from, what would happen is when people would leave offerings to her, they would paint eggs to leave as an offering to her. The bunny is obviously the symbol of fertility. We all know what rabbits are like for breeding. And that is where the bunny got involved. So how certain religion can't see the pagan origins behind it, but it baffles me. But rumour has it the months are based around the 13 Norse gods that were at the Great Feast. Interesting. And let's go back to that one. Goddamn Romans. All veins lead to the heart. Even I know that, and I'm from Essex. Oh dear. There's something about as well. There was I remember seeing it a few years ago. If you put your hand down, it's something to do with the muscles as well, that the muscles, two of them are connected, so you physically can't lift that particular one without lifting the other. And that kind of strengthened a lot of people's beliefs on the fact that there was a specific vein that led to, but yeah, interesting. So I noticed that in Germany and the other Nordic countries, they wear their wedding ring on their right hand. In UK and Italy and most of the Mediterranean, it's on the left ring finger. Why? I'll be totally honest, I'm not sure. I didn't even know that there was countries that wore them on the opposite hand. I'm not sure. I'd need to look into the history of that one as to why certain countries wear it on certain hands. I mean, the not skeptic, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. My initial thought would be maybe they don't have a left hand. Is that why it's on the right hand? Is there a reason, a logical reason? I like to try and think logically.
The chopped off, so they had to put this one.
I was trying to put it, you know, in nicer terms, but that would be a logical reason I could think of, but I don't know the exact reasoning behind it. But I will find out, and I will get back to you on that one, Kate. All of humanity was pagan before the Council of Nicaea. Absolutely. The bumblebee was the animal for fertility in ancient Egypt. Being half Egyptian myself, yep, that's Emmy, hi. Yeah, Damon's on a roll tonight, isn't he? Where's that comment? Hi everyone, Nico here with Emmy. Hope you're all having a good day. Hi Emmy, hi Nico. Jamie's put, the only tradition I ever learnt from my nan was to crush the shells of my dippy eggs so the witches couldn't use the shell as a poot. I still do it to this day, but it's just a reflex at this point. That's what I mean. So we see our grandparents, our parents do things religiously sometimes without even thinking about it, and we learn most of our stuff from our parents and grandparents, whoever's raising us. So it's natural for us to adopt those practices and just keep doing them without even thinking about what it is that we're doing. Jamie, I mean, obviously eggshells are fantastic for the soil. We obviously use them for protection in spell work, so going around your garden with crushed eggshells is fantastic for protection, but also great for the soil. It adds a lot of calcium and other benefits to the soil. In case you're going to crush them, you might as well put them out in the soil. Dave's put, could it be the Romans didn't get to Scandinavia and didn't bring their beliefs across? Possibly. Very possibly.
They got so far, didn't they? I mean, Damon might know a bit more about it because he's been studying Norse a lot.
Yeah.
But there was like one place up there where it was so far like away from the Roman Empire that I believe that Ben knows the story better than I do, but he says that like they sent a letter up to this place, to this village or settling, saying that, you know, convert to Christianity, follow the Catholic Church or whatever, something along those lines, or we're going to come and invade. So they just sent a letter back saying, yeah, okay, we'll do. Obviously not meaning it, they're just telling them, but carrying on with their own religion, but, you know, just saying to them, oh yeah, we'll convert, don't worry. So they never actually had, the Romans never actually went up to there.
It's fascinating, the history, when you look into it. Carol, hi, lovely to meet you. It's lovely to meet you too, Carol. Jamie, absolutely, will do. Thanks for the gardening tips. Now, personally, and if it's to do with witchcraft, I'll tell you anything on. But gardening, I am not the person to ask. All I know about the eggshells is you know, the protection and the calcium. I do not have a green finger at all. Right, we'll go back to these in a second. So we've done Easter. Fingers crossed. Now, this is an interesting one. When we cross our fingers, we're wishing for luck, or more commonly used these days, people do it if they're lying. They'll cross their hands behind their back to stop any bad luck coming to them should they be telling a lie. But originally it stemmed from, it wasn't one person who would cross their fingers, it was two people, and they would cross their fingers together in the shape of a cross symbol. And it was an attempt to harness the power of any nearby good spirits to bring what it is they wanted into fruition. So it was, that's where it is stemmed from. So it wasn't traditionally we do it ourselves, we cross our own fingers. It wasn't originally, it was two people who would cross their own fingers, each fingers like that. And it was to harness the spirits nearby, their energy, their power, to bring whatever it is they'd asked for into fruition. Which was a fascinating one, I've always found.
Yeah, because you don't think about that at all now, because it's like you cross your fingers, like good luck, you know.
Second nature. A lot of people do. Yeah. But yeah, it was fascinating to learn that one. Damon's put, it's because most Germanic and Nordic belief systems are converted to Christianity, so they wear it on the other hand. Germanic or Wettin converted to Christian after the Roman invasion, and the Nordic converted to Rus Viking, aka Christian Vikings. There you go. That's answered that one for you, Kate, hopefully, as to why they wear it on different hands in different cultures. Where are we going? Right, okay. So, bridesmaids. We all hear the stories, the difficulties of the bride who, they have a name, don't they? They have a nickname of the bride, bridezillas, don't they? Where they get really, really finicky over tiny, minute things, and they become a completely different person, and they don't want to be upstaged by the bridesmaids. So there's normally a hideous dress involved and a couple of arguments along the way.
Did not happen at my wedding.
Yeah, it didn't happen at mine. I was such a laid-back bride. My invites didn't go out till like 3 weeks before the actual wedding because I couldn't be bothered, to be honest. It was too much hassle. But the actual day was lovely. The problem is, I think with a lot of weddings, people try to put on such a big show for everyone, forgetting the true meaning of why they're getting married for. And it's a shame.
Please everybody else instead of just concentrating on themselves and what they actually want. Exactly
that. So the bridesmaids. Now, traditionally, going back to ancient times, the bridesmaids would wear the exact same as the bride. So veil, wedding dress, whatever it is they were wearing at the time, they would wear the exact same. And that was to confuse any negative spirits around from latching onto the bride, and they would take them instead. So back then, if you think about it, if someone offered you to be a bridesmaid, I'd be running in the opposite direction. I'd be like, oh no, thank you, I'm busy that day. Thanks for the offer. But yeah, again, with the veil of the bride, it was to cover her face, again, so she wouldn't be seen by negative spirits and things like that. There's a lot of fascinating roots, pagan origin roots, that people don't realise. I'm just going back through. Fingers crossed, in German they say squeeze thumbs, and touch wood in Italy is touch steel. So weird how they're all different. It is weird how they're all different, but I bet they all have the same meaning, or to have the same reason. Like fingers crossed, or they say squeeze thumbs, it's probably for the exact same reason, that they don't want anything bad to happen and they want what they've asked for to come into fruition. So although they have different terminology for it, it probably always means all means the same thing. Jeanette put, I was also told to cross your fingers if you're passing someone coming other way on stairs to stop bad luck. Now that's interesting, because I was told to touch. So if you're crossing someone on the stairs, I was raised to touch. As long as you touch them, that counteracts the bad luck for crossing on stairs. Now, when you're in high school or in college or uni, going down the stairs and there's somebody random coming down to you, you can't randomly start touching people. You'll get normally thrown out. So I would just accidentally pretend to fall. Like, it was so ridiculous. I'm like, oh, sorry. Yeah, just so my arm would brush past person to counteract the bad luck. I am a very superstitious person. But what's ironic is people come to me and goes, oh, I've broken a mirror, what can I do? So I tell them how to counteract it. But I always say to them, superstitions only have as much power as you believe in them, as you let them. So if somebody, comes to me and says I've broken a mirror, I'll tell them the steps to do. But it's all psychological as well, if you think about it. If you break a mirror, for instance, on this day, anything bad that happens for the next 7 years, you're automatically going to presume it's because you broke the mirror. But who's to say that those things wouldn't have happened regardless if you hadn't have broken the mirror? So they are only as powerful as they are, but I will still go out and bury the mirror upside down with salt, and I'll still take all the measures, because nobody needs more bad luck in their life. Good Lord. Yeah, I'm really superstitious. There's an interesting one. Now, this one I actually discovered recently. This isn't something I've known, but Nike, we all know, is a giant sports brand, sportswear, wherever. You either say Nike or Nike. I say Nike. But the success had the name of it obviously had pagan origins, and there's a reason why they chose the name Nike. And it's become as popular as it has. Now, there was a goddess called Nike, or Nike. If she's listening, I do apologise if I pronounce your name wrong. From ancient Greece. And she was the goddess of victory to them. She would often be worshipped after a successful military battle or a military war. And so it makes sense that the company would use her name as for their sports brand, obviously to do with victory and winning and running. I wouldn't even run if there was a chocolate bar held in front of my face. I don't like, when I say I'm actually allergic to exercise, I truly genuinely think I am. They can't test for it, but I do genuinely, just the thought of it, and it brings me out in a sweat. Oh gosh, no. We digress. We go back. Sorry.
So you're running on stairs by accidentally bumping into people, and you get like running.
I don't know. No. And what's funny is I'm awful with heights. Like, I am terrified of heights. Even walking upstairs, my husband, if anybody is on, like, who knows me really well, knows I am dreadful on stairs. Especially if they've got stairs with gaps in, the ones you can see through.
Oh, I hate them. They feel weird.
I don't even like standing on chairs. My legs go to jelly. There is something about stairs and heights, little heights, that terrify me. And it literally makes my knees weak. So maybe when I was stumbling into these people in college and stuff, it probably was just because I was terrified of walking upstairs. That funny story, I went to Warwick Castle years and years and years ago, and I was quite heavily pregnant, and I decided in my wisdom that I was going to climb the tower. There's a name, special name for it. Now, somebody who doesn't like stairs and heavily pregnant, I don't know what was crossing my mind that day. I don't think my mind was with me that day. And I decided to try, but the problem is it's kind of one way. So once you're going up, there's no coming back down the same way. Now, I don't know if anybody's been to Warwick Castle steps and climbed the tower. It's not an easy climb for the best of days, let alone when you're pregnant and don't like the stairs.
Those castles, to be fair, aren't they? A lot of them are like windy as well, with the spiral stairs where you've got a tiny little bit there, and it's a big one. It's just awkward.
That's it. But then what they didn't tell me, and they should have put a sign up, and I did make a formal complaint, that halfway up said stairs, well, by 3/4 of the way up said stairs, the railings, there's no railings halfway up. So I had a blind panic, and by the time I'd composed myself, there was a queue of probably elderly people, school children, all sorts, trying to get past because I was holding up this ridiculous line because I was having a tizzy about some stairs. Absolutely ridiculous. But I had to get escorted down after because I couldn't go down. I couldn't go up. I was trapped.
Pregnant lady.
Yeah.
Make the most of it.
And there's somebody, I got to the top and I never forget, somebody said, look into the distance, it'll make you feel better. I said, I'm sure, I'm not on a boat. I haven't got seasickness. I don't need to look into the horizon, you know? Honestly. The problem is my face says what I'm thinking. So I must have looked at this woman in pure disbelief and disgust that she'd even suggested that. But I was the idiot for going up there, so, you know. Anyway, let's have a look. Right. Told to cross your fingers, passing. In Argentina, it's also touchwood. That's right. Jeanette, didn't happen at my wedding. Damon's put, did you know there is a whole city built around paganism? No, I didn't. What city is that?
Which branch of paganism as well? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because there's an umbrella term, isn't there? So many branches. Damon, the superstition of the magpies drives me crazy. Now, Damon, I am a massive superstitious person of magpies. Magpies is one of the worst ones for me. If I see one, I am frantically looking around for two, in sheer panic, thinking, oh no, what's going to happen today? I said I'm dreadful for superstitions. But yes, I am one of those crazy people.
Like the rhyme.
So 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told. And I believe it goes on all the way to 20.
Does it? I'm gonna kind of get lost after the first few, to be fair. Like,
no one's got time for remembering 20 magpies, you know. All I want to know, all I want to see is 2. Good luck. That's it. I ain't bothered about the rest. That's it. Kate, when I went horse riding as a child, I always wore my lucky jumpers and knickers, just so I didn't have an accident. I think it was borderline OCD though. See, that's another thing. We all have something we consider lucky that we will wear, or and that again, having that luck, something for luck, is also pagan origins. I will go back to them in a second. I just want to keep up with the comments. Oh dear, Nike was the Greek god of fashion. Oh, brilliant. Fashion and victory. That's why we always dress so fancy when we wanted competition or a war. So I'm told. Fascinating. Wandering Willow put, no, you aren't allergic. No, you shouldn't be telling me that. You should say, yes, you are allergic. You don't need to go running. You don't need to go do anything. That's what you should say. Hi, Hugh. Hollywood split up the name Holywood. The whole city is built on a pagan name. Ah, I see. But Hollywood's spelled.
Yeah, but any more information on that, Damon, as to like which sort of pagan branch kind of did that origin. Branch would? Oh, funny.
Because I know. Yeah, I know the other name for Palo Santo they call is Holywood. But I don't know if that has anything to do with that side of the world. But again, Hollywood is spelt differently to Holywood, so I don't know. Yeah, Damon, if you could fill us in, that'd be brilliant. I was told the one for bad luck, it's bad luck for magpie due to them being in pairs for life. So it's now on its own. So it's bad luck for the magpie. Oh, what a shame, isn't it, really? But I'll be in the car with my husband. I see one, I'm saluting constantly. Hey, Mr. Magpie, how's your wife? I sound absolutely crackers, but I don't care. Yeah. Anyway, so now we've caught up.
We're finding out a lot about you on this show.
Superstitious, don't like exercise, can't garden to save a life. Some things I can't say, but yeah. So, birthday candles, everyone knows that one. But yes, they are pagan. Candles were put on cakes originally to ward off evil spirits, and it was one for every birth of your year, year of your birth, and one extra to hopefully bring in a healthy following year. So say if I was turning 22, I would put 23 on this year's candle for next year. Yeah, I'm not turning 22. I wish I was, but no, I'm not turning 22. Another one, the toasts, when I don't mean the food, when people clink their glasses, and that was again to ward off evil spirits. Some people would also spill some of their wine or whatever they would drink was inside their glass as an offering to the gods, to appease the gods and goddesses. So that's where the toasts originally come from. It would take me hours. Holywood stems all back to the original NWO. Okie dokie. Maybe they could do it. You could do a show on that thing, because that would be fascinating to listen to.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that. Hear how Hollywood came around, like recently and whatnot.
Yeah, no, that would be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Wishing wells. So Germanic people believed that spirits lived inside the wells. So people initially would whisper their wishes into the wells, hoping the spirits would grant them. However, later on, they would also throw coins as an offering into the water to appease Coventina, which was the goddess of springs and wells. So originally it was just whispers into the wells for your wishes and things like that, and then later on it stemmed into throwing coins. Where I live, I don't think anybody throws coins in, because somebody would be following behind them, fishing them out.
Times are hard.
Times are hard, yeah. If you've there a little net. Yeah.
I've been on like paranormal investigations before, and when we've been like near a river, what we do is take two silver coins, like 2 10 pences or something, and throw them into the river to appease, like as an offering to the spirits there, like the river spirits, for when we do our investigation, so we don't get any bother from them.
Yeah. Bribery works wonders.
Leave them alone. Here's some silver coin.
I like that. That's nice. So, nail cuttings, like when you cut your nails, what they used to do was throw them down toilets. And that was actually, they believed if it got into the wrong hands, your nail cuttings, it could be used against you. I still do that.
Being lazy instead of taking it to the bin, just throw them in the toilet.
No,
just being lazy, really, isn't it?
Probably. But yeah, they used to throw them down the toilets because they knew that they wouldn't go down there to fetch them out. So it was thrown down toilets to remove anything that come off you that could be used negatively against you, was traditionally flushed down toilets. He was fetching coins for a special brew. Kate, what about kitchen witches? My nan had one, but didn't understand what it was actually for. What do you mean your nan had what? Have I missed something?
They get these little, I'm guessing they're about that size. I've seen them on some of the groups, like a little figure of like a little witch in the kitchen. If that's
the actual
on about.
Oh, okay. So an actual figure of a witch in the kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen. I seem
Yeah,
to, if that's what Kate's on about, because I think I've seen something like that on some of the groups.
yeah. I actually have one hanging in my kitchen. I've never called her a kitchen witch. I've always thought the kitchen witch was the term of a witch who does most of their work in the kitchen.
There's that as well.
Yeah.
At first, when I read Kate's comment, I was like, "What? She keeps a person like locked up in there?"
Yeah. Yeah. With me, Kate, you have to put things really simply, otherwise it doesn't. There's a bit of a lag between something. I'm not sure. There's no connection somewhere going on. So simple questions for me. Yeah, it was like a wreath with a witch on a broomstick with a cat on it. I think I know what you mean, actually. I think I have seen things like that before. Probably would have been something to do with bringing in good luck, keeping away evil spirits. That's probably what it would have originated from.
You don't want your evil spirits to mess up your cooking.
I don't need any help from evil spirits. I do that myself.
Right, 1 second. I just need to go and move the puppies because Ben's just returned back, and
Okay, that's
I
fine.
need to make sure they don't escape.
Okay. I want to check I haven't missed. I saw a drunk guy arrested in London once for diving into the fountain at Trafalgar Square. Oh, desperate times, eh? It's a shame, isn't it? We shouldn't laugh.
Yeah, so Ben will come crashing through the door in a minute.
Okay. So, then this is going on to a bit of my forte that I love. Now, my favourite Sabbath or celebration, more commonly known as Halloween, I call it Samhain, or Samhain, wherever you want to call it, but we won't go into that. Now, part of that, now I'm not going to go into the origins of Samhain, but jack-o'-lanterns or pumpkins or whatever it is that you call them, the origins of that I will go into. Now, this isn't pagan origins, but it is folklore, where it stemmed from. Now, as Wiccan and witches and anybody who studies the craft or takes part in Samhain, hello, how are you?
Hello.
You're coming from a different angle today. That's
Unique ability.
That's contortion and a half. That is, jeez. Right. Okay. Sorry. I need to. I can't start seeing these. I call Halloween 3 for 2 because you can go into any supermarket and 3 packs. Oh, Damon. Oh, goodness me, that's hilarious. 3 for 2. Well, whatever you call it. If you partake in carving out pumpkins, this is where one of the origins, the folklore origins, like I said, this isn't pagan origins because you'll hear some of the things I'm about to tell you are certainly not pagan, but this is a folklore origin. Now, as a Wiccan and a lot of witches, we carve them out to ward off any negative spirits. That's what they were generally using for, to ward off negative. They put at your front door to ward off anything negative coming in. Children would dress up as ghosts, ghouls, whatever they want to dress up as, and that was originally to confuse anything negative from taking them. So they would dress up in anything scary to prevent anything latching on or taking their souls. But the folklore tradition of pumpkin carving actually stemmed from folklore Irish tradition. Now, the name jack-o'-lantern does have a reason why it's called jack-o'-lantern, and I will tell you why. So, I mean, let me try and get it from the beginning because I'm digressing so much today. I'll be chatting about something else in 10 seconds. My brain's on fire. So the folklore about, there was a man called Stingy Jack. Now, Stingy Jack was a miserable, grumpy, stingy man, didn't want to pay for anything. This is where the folklore story goes. And he invited the devil, this is why I said it's folklore, it's not a pagan thing. He invited the devil to drink with him. And he had a drink with him, but he didn't want to pay. In true fashion, his name's Stingy Jack. That was his nickname in the town or the village wherever he lived from. He didn't want to pay. So he tricked the devil into turning himself into a coin to pay for the drinks. That's what he said. But once the devil obliged, he turned himself into a coin, and Stingy Jack put the coin in a pocket next to a silver cross to prevent the devil from turning back to his natural self. So a year passed, 12 months passed, and Stingy Jack said to the devil, he made a deal with the devil and said, if you leave me alone for 12 months, don't take my soul, I will release you. So he did, he released, took him out of his pocket, away from the silver cross, and he could turn back to his normal self. 12 months later, he brought the devil back again. There was fruit in a tree, and he tricked the devil to climbing up the tree to get said piece of fruit. What he was trying to do was trap him, apparently, and he inscribed in the bark of the tree a cross to prevent him coming down and to prevent him from changing back. And he said, if you don't take my soul for another 10 years, I will release you. And he said, true to his word, he said, okay, that's fine. You release me and I will not take your soul. But shortly after that, Stingy Jack passed away. He died. And when he died, he couldn't go to heaven because God wouldn't want such an unsavoury character in heaven. But he also couldn't go to hell because the devil had sworn he wouldn't take his soul, and he stuck to his promise. So he was sent off into the darkness with nothing but a piece of coal. He found a turnip, which was traditionally turnips, but I'll go into that in a second. And he used a turnip with a piece of coal inside lit to light his way. And the legend has it that he still travels this plane of existence, lost soul, still being as miserable and stingy as ever. And he's trapped in this existence. And that is where the carved out turnips and things like that, Swedes and all sorts, potatoes, I think, as well in Ireland, came about from that folklore. However, when the Irish immigrants moved to America, that story went with them. Now, in America, I think it's a fruit, I believe, actually, isn't it? A pumpkin. It's quite native to America, so they turned it to American pumpkin carving, and they believe that was
turnips.
So, yeah, so the Americans like to put their own twang on things. No offense to any Americans. So that's where the pumpkins came from. Obviously, that came back here, and we do pumpkins now traditionally as well. But traditionally, it was turnips, potatoes, Swedes, and that was put in the windows or front of doors to prevent Stingy Jack or evil spirits from coming into the property to take anybody's soul and things like that. And like I said, that isn't, because obviously there is the mention of the god and devil, and so that's not like Wiccan origins. That's more folklore that is derived from. So that's a little interesting story with Stingy Jack. Yeah, I know a few Stingy Jacks, to be honest. Whether he's been reincarnated a few times, but I definitely know a few of them.
He's the one trying to steal the coins out of the wells.
Yeah, it's just the same one, isn't it? Absolutely dreadful. Jeanette Damon, you're on form tonight. He definitely is. But I would like to hear more about the Hollywood. I would like to hear more of that.
We request a show, Damon. We request a show.
Dave's put originally turnips, potatoes. That's right. Damon has put Halloween is the only time of the year you can become anything. I'm bracing myself now. I saw a large set kid once dressed as a skeleton, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Oh, Damon.
Okay, that's proper cool. I never ever heard that about Halloween. That's awesome. Yeah. So although it's a little fraction of Halloween, obviously the pumpkin carving, but that's where it stemmed from. Fascinating that. Hugh's put, imagine what that turnip smelled like with a candle in it. Well, little tip in case any people this might be old news, but this is what I do. When we carve our pumpkins in Samhain, Halloween, whatever you want to call it, I sprinkle cinnamon inside the pumpkin, and when you put the tea light in, it makes the whole porch, that's where I put it, smell beautiful of cinnamon. Obviously, if you don't like cinnamon, I wouldn't recommend it, because it does smell strongly of cinnamon. Or if you're allergic, disclaimer, don't use it. Common sense, please use common sense. If you're allergic, don't use it. But it does
the
make your
spices
whole
are available.
yeah, the spices are at your local supermarkets. But yes, putting cinnamon in your pumpkin, then put your tea light in, it makes the whole place smell beautiful. That's a good idea. Love pumpkin, but I love pumpkin pie. Absolutely. We love food and not exercise. That's my problem, right? Yep, Sarah Lee's put a comment on. Hollywoodland was a retail development in 1887, I think, for like-minded people from the temperance movement. Fascinating. See, this Hollywood has a lot of people have said that obviously it's got a darker side to it as well. There are certain celebrities that need filter, stop. We won't say that. Gonna try that. Can you use catnip? Will annoy the neighbour. I suppose you can put anything you want in it as long as it's not near the actual flame, and you know, just use common sense. But obviously, catnip's going to attract the cats of your local neighbourhood. Just be cautious with that one, Damon. If you don't like cats, probably don't use catnip in it. Hey, Damon's put, I'll do a show in Hollywood or blow some minds. Fantastic. I'd definitely tune in for that, because that's that'd be fascinating. I like that. Is anybody in the comment section got anything that they do, like tradition, that maybe they don't know the origins on? I'm not saying I'd know. I'm just nosy. I'm just a nosy person. Another fun story. I'll do a really quick stuff. In our house we have like the vertical blinds, but they're like white creamy colour. I am ridiculously nosy. I self-proclaimed, I'm the neighbourhood watch for the entire close. And we've only just recently had a Ring doorbell fitted, so I couldn't use the Ring doorbell to spy before. Transitioning in. And anyway, my neighbours across the road were having a bit of a Barney. So it was loud enough to the point that I actually got off my backside went to look at the window and see what was going on. I might need to have been a witness for something, you never know. So they were having an argument, but my blinds, were shut at an angle. I have them angled perfectly. That's great for spying on the neighbourhood. I've got it sussed to a T.
You're admitting it now.
Oh, absolutely. I would happily admit. Anyway, so I forgot, obviously the sun was shining through, and forgetting that they could probably see my reflection, they looked up instantly. So I just dived to the side of the blinds, which is exactly the same colour this side as to what it is that side. I just thought they couldn't see me, because this side of the blinds looked a bit more closed than the other. But from the other, they must have thought, oh God, I'm the crazy lady anyway of this place. I don't need any more. But now I've got the Ring doorbell, so I can just tune in and watch everybody without them even realising. Fantastic. Right. I'm a nightmare, isn't it? Absolutely. Okay. I thought cats don't like catnip. That's where I went wrong. Cats love catnip.
Oh, Damon.
The clue's in the name there, Damon. It's yeah, cats love catnip. So if you don't like cats, I don't recommend using the catnip.
Tiger pea.
Tiger pea, yes. If you don't want them around,
yeah.
Dancing around the maypole, that's a really good one. Obviously, I have only gone into a few of the origins today because I'd waffle on all night, as you can tell. Dancing around the maypole, again, pagan origins, and traditionally, I have mentioned this before, the pole was a phallic, is it phallic, the word I'm looking for? It's a phallic resemblance of a male body part. And it was fair maidens, young girls who hadn't come into their womanhood yet, would dance around the pole, binding this resemblance of a certain body part to What's he say?
That he's shouting phallus at you.
But that's, yeah, phallus. I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm
He's
not.
being childish.
So they would dance around the pole with their with their ribbons, binding said male organ to hopefully bring them fertility and stuff like that. So that's where the maypole comes from. First footing on Samhain, which is the witch's new year, not the new year, that's correct. So the witch's new year, for those who don't know, starts on Samhain, which is October the 31st. So the first footing, similar to what they do in Scotland, I believe. That was a dreadful accent. I'm so sorry to any Scottish people. I can't do accents either. But yeah, so first footing. Got to love a curtain twitcher. I'm not even a curtain twitcher. I'm a very obvious, stalker's the wrong word, but very obvious people watcher. I love watching people. I find it fascinating watching people. Tiger pea. How the hell you get your hands on that? You have to be tough. Phallic or phallus. You can say penis can get away with love muscle. Okay. Apologies, one too many energy drinks. I haven't. See, you can have energy drinks and function like a normal human being. I'm like this without energy drinks. So yeah, I'd be a nightmare. Dave has put a nosy Parker. Dave knows me well. 100% a nosy Parker. That's an interesting. I wonder where nosy Parker originated from. I'll have to find that one out. In Japan, on New Year's Day, they do a massive clean out and clean their entire house. Yet my mum says I can't do laundry New Year's Day as it will wash away all the look for the new year. Yes, I do that. I don't wash my hair on New Year. I don't do laundry. I don't clean the house. I don't do sweeping or any form of cleaning on New Year's because I do believe I'm sweeping away or washing away the good luck that was coming to me for the new year. Again, like I said, I tell people superstitions only have as much power as you allow them to, but I am the most superstitious person. So, so true. I'm far from normal. Who is normal, Damon, these days? Who is normal? It's a tradition not to remember New Year's Eve in my house. Oh dear. Dearie me. Right, but yeah, I think I've graced enough of your time. That's the other thing. I have this innately ability of making up my own phrases that I believe I've got from somewhere, but no, I've just created them in my own brain. But yes, I've taken up enough of everybody's time, but thank you so much. If nobody has any more questions, I think I'm going to go and either spy on the neighbours some more or go to bed. I think the second one sounds like the best option for me tonight.
What's for your next show in 2 weeks?
The next show, I think I'm talking about, because I have got it written down, the next show, next time on The Witch's Closet, we are discussing altars, what they are, why we have them, and why some witches, or a lot of witches, have certain items on their altars and the meanings of why we have them on our altars. So that's for the next show. The vibrations are high tonight. Something is. I thought I was the only one to make up words. No, I make up words and phrases all the time and then confuse myself. Jeanette, great chat again. Thanks. Hugh, thank you all. Sorry, I was late getting on, had to work. Not a problem. You can watch the show back after. Yeah, never mind. I was going to say something else then, but I'm having to really rein myself in tonight. But yes, thank you all for joining me. Words have gone again. We just need to end the show. Thank you. you all.
Yeah, we got what day, it's Wednesday. I forgot what day it was then. Right, it's Friday. Friday there is the main show. I haven't got a topic yet for the main show. Ben, Damon, Ben. The boys are blank. Right. So yeah, there is
in
a
the air.
main show on Friday. On
Yeah.
you know what? At the moment, these boys useless sometimes. Anyway,
There is something in the air tonight, but yes. Thank you all. So I am going to tune out, give you all a break from me. Have a fantastic rest of the week. And blessings to you all. But yeah, thank you all, guys. See you soon.
bye.